South Sudan produces a lot of crude oil, but the country imports 100% of its refined fuel. It's just one example of the African continent's overdependence on foreign refining. Let me explain. Africa sits on 125 billion barrels of proven oil reserves. In a single day, the continent pulls more than 7 million barrels of crude oil out of the ground. But every day, Africa imports at least 2 million barrels of petrol, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products. Do you see the problem? Supplying raw materials, buying back the finished product.
This is because the oil and gas or the fossil fuels on the continent are controlled by someone else. We own it, but when you go down to the fundamentals, we definitely don't own.
Let's get back to South Sudan. When its borders were drawn in 2011, the country walked away with roughly 75% of the oil reserves that used to belong to undivided Sudan. But the pipeline to the port, every single refinery, every route to the sea is in Sudan, the northern neighbor they declared independence from. So today, South Sudan crude travels roughly 1,500 kilometers by pipeline through Sudan, which is currently in a civil war, just to reach a port. The crude is then shipped to the Gulf, where it's refined. The refined fuel is then shipped back to a Kenyan port before it's put on trucks to be transported by road to South Sudan. So if the problem is just a refinery, why not just build one? In Nigeria, business tycoon Aliko Dangote built a refinery, and it's already changing the petroleum supply chain in parts of Africa.
I think in the last couple of days, we've been loading to mostly African countries, which we were not doing before.
Analysts estimate the continent needs the equivalent of 6 more refineries like Dangote's to meet oil demand by 2050, when 1 in 4 people on Earth will be here in Africa. But here's the thing. Even though Nigeria is Africa's top oil producer, some of the crude Dangote is refining is not from Nigeria. It's not even from Africa.
When Dangote invested his fortune into that particular refinery, when it was completed, he could not even access the local crude. He had to import local crude from Brazil, from Angola, to be able to refine.
But what if there was another option on the table, a completely different one that doesn't need a refinery at all? Today, 90% of Kenya's electricity comes from renewable sources. The International Energy Agency calls it a model for the continent. But South Sudan cannot follow that path yet. The country needs constant, reliable energy to keep it functioning, and right now that means fossil fuels. The war in Iran has exposed the continent's energy dependence. The question now is whether Africa is finally ready to close it.